Welcome back to the United Pubcast. Only a few days until, well, technically tomorrow, the Premier League does start, but a few more days until Manchester United do return to action. But regardless of the on-pitch action, Larry, there is a lot happening behind the scenes, and not just at Manchester United. There's a pending deal between Tottenham Hotspur and Bayern Munich, which does have a little bit of a narrative, a little bit of an impact on Manchester United and their business. So, look, we're looking forward to the football, but my God, in regards to business and off-field dealings, there's almost more to look forward to at the moment.
Look, you can say whatever you like. I'm pumped for the football personally. I'm just ready to watch 90 minutes of competitive football. Now, I've been watching that with the Women's World Cup, and it's been great. But the Premier League, Tom, that's your bread and butter. And I'm absolutely pumped for Manchester City versus Burnley. The might of Burnley to upset Manchester City. How's that for a bold prediction to open the season?
It's Pep Guardiola against
his old manager. I could see it.
Vincent Kompany's going to roll over and ask Pep how many goals does he want to start the season off with. There is no chance. Look, I think it is away at Burnley potentially, so maybe old school. You think, maybe that's a bit of a banana skin, but the current Burnley we see is anything but the sort of, we think of teams like Burnley and Stoke. They have evolved from those days, and Burnley now actually quite a good team. We remember we did play them at Old Trafford in the first game back after the World Cup, I think it was, in the League Cup. And Burnley are obviously a very good side. Now, maybe when we get into a few predictions later, in sort of previewing the season, we'll look at Burnley, and they're probably one team no one really has to go down, where usually a lot of people just have the three that come up, the three that are going to go down. But I think a lot of people have Burnley safe, and that's off the back of the good work Vincent Kompany has done. Fair play to him. And George, good to see you in the chat. If you are in the chat with us, let us know all your opinions on all these things and what you want us to talk about, and we'll definitely discuss it on this Thursday night, or if you're Thursday morning in the UK, if you're tuned in from there, do let us know where you're watching from. But Larry, we'll start on the thumbnail. Benjamin Pavard. His name wasn't here 24 hours ago, and here we're going to discuss him as potentially, in regards to the reports, maybe a likely signing, a likely arrival to Manchester United. Has come out of the blue. Now, obviously nothing concrete, and there is still a little bit of distance to run with the Pavard thing. But, okay, Harry Maguire is, you'd say, potentially hours away from Here We Go from Fabrizio Romano. I think Harry Maguire is definitely at the door, which will come into this discussion. But in regards to, okay, we have three centre-backs now. Eric Ten Hag has spoken about needing four central defenders. There are a lot of defenders linked with Manchester United at the moment. So that is Johnny Evans out the door. Johnny Evans will leave the club, and we will look like to bring in a fourth centre-back. And at the top of the list, in my opinion, in regards to the reputable sources in terms of what makes sense as well, Benjamin Pavard from Bayern Munich. I wouldn't have scored this 24 hours ago, but it does look like it has legs today.
Yeah, I think it's possible. I don't watch Bayern Munich enough to know if he plays week in, week out. I know Pavard as a player. I've seen Pavard as a player. I think he's a good centre-back. I think he is an upgrade on Harry Maguire. And we've said this time and time again. Whenever you make an addition to the squad, it has to be someone who can push. Someone who can come in for the two that are there, and you don't see a massive drop-off. Now, Victor Lindelof leveled up last season. I think whoever comes in needs to level up. And I think Pavard has the potential to do that. A good age. He's obviously well into his career now. He's in his later 20s, I want to say. If not, he'd be in his late 20s, wouldn't he? He's the right age profile and probably looking for the right challenge. Good with the ball at his feet, of course, which seems to be the prototype that Eric Ten Hag wants in his centre-backs, which is completely understandable. But I'd be happy with it.
Well, Al here saying I don't want Pavard. He's 27 and declining. I wouldn't say declining in regards to his age at 27, but he believes in regards to form.
I think they peak in their late
20s. I don't think Al's saying declining in regards to where he is in his stage of his career. I think he's potentially just talking about performances, but get someone younger. Plus, he's more right-sided than a centre-back. That's where I look at it. I don't think, as I said, don't watch Bayern Munich weekly, but in terms of his ability as a player, look, he plays for Bayern Munich, plays for France. We all remember the fantastic goal against Argentina. That did come from, obviously, the right-back position, which he did play earlier in his career. But do you think that's where I'm potentially leaning towards? There is something in this in regards to, especially the way modern football is going and the way Eric Ten Hag wants to sort of build out from the back and sort of how our back four is shaping up. I think we're both extremely happy with Aaron Wan-Bissaka and Diogo Dalot, but there's no doubt as good as they're performing and as good as their new contracts under Erik ten Hag looks, there's always seemed to be a little bit of sort of rumours around a right back that Erik ten Hag wants to upgrade on both of them. Now, I don't think that's going to happen with the direct signing of a right back this window. But you look at Benjamin Pavard, he's someone who is versatile, can play on that right-hand side. You would assume, I don't know if he has any experience, but just my sort of visual cues of him, he could play in a back three in terms of that right-sided centre-back. He's extremely versatile, and I think if you'd look at weaknesses in terms of, okay, Harry Maguire, how can we improve upon Harry Maguire? The first thing you want in those traits is someone who's mobile, someone who's got that versatility to play a little bit higher, and I think Pavard definitely has that. So in terms of what I know about the player, in terms of improving upon Harry Maguire, I can see why Erik ten Hag is looking at him.
Yeah, absolutely. Nothing to add, to be honest. I think he's got tactical fluidity, and he offers Erik ten Hag tactical fluidity. And as we've seen in preseason, as we've seen at times last season, Erik ten Hag likes the opportunity to play Bruno on the right. Erik ten Hag likes the opportunity to play Bruno deep. Erik ten Hag likes the opportunity to play Marcus Rashford up front or on the left. Sancho as a false nine. Erik ten Hag likes to be tactically flexible depending on what the opposition is doing. And I think Pavard gives United the opportunity to play in a back three, gives United the opportunity to play at right back in case of an emergency, though I don't see that happening unless Dalot and Wan-Bissaka either experience a major injury or experience a major fall-off or get deported. Or Aaron Wan-Bissaka's English, so that won't happen. So Diogo Dalot gets deported.
Is there a potential view towards Rafael Varane's position? No, not Varane starts for me, but just in regards to injuries and age, is there, and not that Pavard's this young up-and-coming centre-back, but is there a view to just look at potentially keeping Rafael Varane on his toes?
I have no doubt. Look, but just with his injury record alone, it's enough of a concern for Erik ten Hag. And as we've seen in his first 2 seasons at Manchester United, he's no guaranteed sure thing to stay fit. Now, last season was better. He didn't seem to be out injured for extended periods of time, but he always picks up a knock. And when he picks up a knock, you're guaranteed he's going to miss at least 3 games. So.
I'll just bring up just the last bit on Pavard before we do move on. Fabrizio Romano just a few hours ago tweeted, and I'll just see it up here. Benjamin Pavard open to leaving Bayern Munich this summer. Keen on Manchester United. He'd love to join the club and try the Premier League experience. Ten Hag will decide soon the favoured option between Pavard, Todibo, and backup options. Tapsoba. That's the first time I've pronounced that. Tapsoba. I've seen here Al bringing those 2 names in here as well. Todibo and Tapsoba are younger, better long-term options. I won't disagree with you, Al. I'll just have to be completely honest. I'd never heard of either of them 24 hours ago. I couldn't tell you what country they're from, who they play for. I've never heard of those names. I can't comment on them as players. I'm sure they're good if they're linked with Manchester United. A lot of people are talking about them, but I don't know who they are. If I'm being brutally honest, Rob, good to see you as always, mate. And Mike, good to see you. George as well saying Pavard benches Aaron Wan-Bissaka and Dalot if Varane and Martinez. It'll be interesting. As I said, there's always been the rumours around sort of potentially improving upon right back. As happy as we are.
Did he play for Barcelona?
Pavard?
No, Todibo.
Someone brought that up. That flew over my head. Yeah, a guy in our group chat, Prem, brought that up the other day, and yeah, fair play.
I feel like I've seen him, but would have
I believe that to be the case, and he mustn't have had too big of an impact at Barcelona if I can't even remember that he played for them.
Some scouting for us to do, I think.
Just in regards to centre-back or centre-back / the defensive area, we're talking about we're going to get in the Harry Kane situation. I'm sure Amrabat and sort of other midfielders and everything. A price tag on what you're not comfortable. It's not our money. Spend the money if it's there. But how much money do you want to see spent on a centre-back? Are we going in and getting a first choice to potentially displace Rafael Varane, or are we bringing in a 4th choice centre-back? So price tag, how much money do you think should be spent on the defence?
Look, you know my opinion on this. If you're going to sign a player who can challenge. The only instance where they're not challenging is if it's a young player and you're paying for potential. So if Havard's being bought in, then the expectation should be he can push Martinez and or Varane to be a starting centre-back. If that's not the level, then I wouldn't be buying the player. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, no, it's hard to argue there. No doubt. And in the chat, Harry Kane. We're going to talk about Harry Kane. It's nothing to do with Manchester United, but it kind of definitely does tie into it. It does look like David.
What is it?
David Ornstein. Well, I just got Fabrizio Romano's Twitter here, but he obviously is reporting the David Ornstein news. But Bayern and Tottenham have reached an agreement in principle for Harry Kane worth more than 100 million euros package, as David Ornstein has reported. It is now up to the player. Kane has to make the final decision very soon after a long negotiation period. So Daniel Levy's willing to accept a sale to obviously not Manchester United. Sure, if Manchester United come in, that price tag is definitely going to have to increase. But Daniel Levy and Tottenham have accepted the bid. Harry Kane's decision now. I just have a fit. Now, I don't think Bayern would go this deep into negotiations if they didn't have word that Harry Kane was going to move. There's something in me that thinks Harry Kane stays in the Premier League. And at the moment, if you're looking at the information we have, he's going to go to Bayern. But something tells me he could just stay. And right, wrong, it's the next chapter in the ever-going sort of Harry Kane saga.
I can't see him leaving the Premier League. I think he stays at Spurs, or dare I say Manchester United make a late swoop for him. Now, I think the more likely scenario is he stays at Tottenham. I could see him going to United on a free next season. I think that's now going to be the more likely outcome. I don't think he'll stay at Spurs. I really don't. I think he's come to the realization that Spurs are Spurs, and if he wants to win trophies, it simply won't happen at that football club. If he can't force through the deal now, he's still well paid. He can score goals for another season and get his free move next season on a fat salary.
Cast your mind back this time last year, maybe a few weeks earlier this time last year, but Rob brings it up here. Joel Malacia. The prices there, go beat it. We did this with when Leon, I believe it was Leon, came in for Joel Malacia. They said this is the price. And Manchester United went and just beat it sort of by 2 million. Now, I think Manchester United will have to beat this by a little bit more than 2 million. It might have to be closer to 22 million. But is there a case where Manchester United have been sort of waiting for this all along? Or is that just hope, in my opinion?
I think there's a very good chance of that being the possibility. When you look at it and how the story lines up, Manchester United clearly went in for him at the start of the summer. I think they were clearly deterred by the price, or given some sort of indication to say that, look, it's not going to work for you. But now that we know what the price is, Bayern Munich have done all the legwork. The price is there. If United go match it and Harry Kane expresses an interest to leave, they're going to be in a very difficult, undeniable spot. Now, let's not forget that the owner of the club has at some point reached out to Daniel Levy and said, sell him or get him to sign a new deal. Yeah. So is it a case of now or never to Manchester United? At the end of the day,
two different bits of business, though, in regards to Manchester United, an English club, the English rival with Tottenham. Like, even the owner might look at Daniel Levy and say, okay, we can. This 100 million from here is different from 100 million from here. And I'm just thinking, okay, but Bayern Munich 100 million euros. What would Manchester United? What's your opinion? What do you think Levy would accept?
There comes a point where money will overrule whatever Tottenham feel about this decision.
But if Harry Kane's scoring goals against Tottenham, that hurts Tottenham more than just losing the player. That'll knock them further down the ladder.
Emotionally, it won't hurt the boss or the chairman.
If Harry Kane scores against Tottenham and scores against rivals, that knocks Tottenham further down the ladder. That knocks them out of European football. I think that's a knock-on effect.
It's 2 games in a 38-game season.
Throughout the whole, Harry Kane scores against another game that Tottenham need Manchester United to lose.
That's ridiculous. I mean, United, that could happen this season anyway. Anthony Martial could score a goal that kicks Tottenham's Europe. Yeah,
but we're not preventing a sale from Anthony Martial to West Ham or Anthony Martial to Brighton.
It's £100 million that they will not get next season. It's as simple as that. Now it's up to
so you believe Daniel Levy? Well, he's accepted this bid from Bayern Munich. You think Daniel Levy would accept 100 million from United now?
100%.
I don't think so. I think it could be 120.
If it's 100 or nothing, United hold the chips here. They've set their price. They can't afford. It'd be a game of poker, but they can ill afford to play that game. If you're going to hit 100 million for a player who's got 1 year left on his contract, you take the money and you run.
I know it's stupid from Tottenham's point of view and Levy's point of view. I think they're going to continue to make stupid decisions. I just have a thing. I agree, and look, I like Manchester United stance potentially. Okay, they've done all the legwork, come in now and swoop. I just don't think Levy will be a bit of a taker. I see Rob say Tyler Adams has gone to Chelsea there. Chelsea's situation, we'll touch on them in a little bit maybe as well. But gut feeling, Larry, to wrap up on the Harry Kane saga. Where does he play in regards to Gundy ahead? Tottenham, Manchester United or Bayern Munich?
Manchester United or Bayern Munich. I think
Or
it'll
Tottenham.
be.
It'll still be Tottenham in the free transfer.
Where does he end up this season, or where does he end up in general?
This season, where's he play his football?
This season, I think he stays. I can't see him going to Bayern. He's got too much to lose. He's this close to the Premier League goal record. Don't tell me that prick doesn't care about that. He launched a request with the Premier League that an own goal was his goal when it wasn't his goal, because he simply wanted to counter his goal tally. That prick will push his mum down some stairs for a goal.
I think that happens with all great goal scorers. Remember, United went into bat for. Remember Ronaldo, that one that skimmed his hair. He got United to sort of pursue the dubious goal panel.
That's my point. It's not a criticism, but the fact that Harry Kane is wired that way, why on earth would he go to Bayern Munich? If you're Harry Kane, does winning the Bundesliga hit as good as winning the Premier League? Don't tell me it does. There's not a chance.
There's probably a situation, I don't have the maths in front of me, and the likelihood someone would have to get out their expected goals and sort of when that would potentially happen. But there is an argument he could go to the Bundesliga, win it, sign a sort of almost a short-term deal there, a 3-year deal, go win the Bundesliga once or twice, and then come back and still have time to potentially break that Premier League goal scoring record. That would obviously be very, very risky. But I'm interested. Al here saying Chelsea and Liverpool for Lavia. Chelsea outbid Liverpool for Lavia, and Liverpool have responded by outbidding Chelsea for Caicedo. Both clubs splashing the cash. Yeah, there is a bit of a merry-go-round. And look, George brings up West Ham. I think West Ham have been the next, or the big player in this in regards to that 100 million for Declan Rice.
Is Ed Woodward running the operations at Liverpool? Because the fact that they've been £5 million short of this deal and are trying to play hardball to ultimately land at Southampton's price anyway is very Manchester United-like.
Well, if you look at, and this is another discussion for Liverpool, but in regards to American ownership, FSG and the Glazers, what Sir Alex Ferguson was able to achieve under the Glazers in terms of protect them and sort of provide a little bit of cover. You do look at the sort of brilliance Jurgen Klopp has done at Liverpool while working with FSG. When Jurgen Klopp leaves, will it expose the flaws in the Liverpool ownership, just like Sir Alex Ferguson did with the Glazers? Because they've always kind of worked like this, but they've just had results on the pitch.
I think Liverpool are actually giving too much power to Klopp, and I think that's why things are actually starting to fall down. I think they've overcompensated. They had a director of football who I can't think of now, and he left, but he was there for a very long time. And you could absolutely look, at the end of the day, Liverpool have just experienced their most successful period in over 20 years. So that director of football clearly had a finger in the pie that was Liverpool's success over a period of time. Now, that director of football left last season, and in that time, they've made 3 appointments into that position. So Jurgen Klopp is now getting all the chips. Now, there's talk that the new director of football that they're bringing in is someone that Klopp has worked with and has come under his recommendation. So maybe they're giving too much power to the manager, and it's about to blow up in their face. Yeah, you're on mute, Tom. Very good.
Apologies. Thank you, Larry. But it's one of those things, Sir Alex Ferguson, in terms of we all sort of knew the underlying problems, but he sort of shielded and results covered everything. They papered all the cracks. Results have papered the cracks at Liverpool. When Jurgen Klopp leaves and results potentially, hopefully, do fade, we'll be interested in how we do look at Liverpool's ownership. Now, this was just put out a couple of minutes ago, again, from The Sun, but it's from Neil Custis, and he does have a bit of a ear to the ground at Old Trafford and talking about the Harry Kane, sort of Harry Maguire deal, Harry's and Harry's. But Harry Maguire has been given a £6 million payoff to leave Man United. He will take a wage cut to join West Ham, so United have made the payment to help offset that. How reliable that is, who knows? It's just something that you put 2 and 2 together. This is a very likely situation, something we all sort of envisaged. So from Harry Maguire's point of view and Manchester United's point of view, that £6 million payoff, I think it's just sort of fair enough in regards to getting this over the line. But best for all parties. It's a lot of money, and Harry Maguire can sort of gladly take that, of course. But just your thoughts on that bit of news, and we'll sort of start that in regards to the Maguire leaving discussion.
Thoughts are, look, as football fans, we're never going to agree with these sorts of comments. We're always like, well, if you're loyal to the football club, you shouldn't be rinsing the club for money, etc. At the end of the day, your football career is short. He could do his ACL tomorrow. I'm not saying I want that to happen. He could do his ACL tomorrow. He could have a big major injury. If he's going to stand to experience a financial loss by taking this deal at West Ham, he's right to seek compensation from Manchester United, who are clearly trying to push him out. So Fair enough.
Yeah, look, I've got no issue with it. Just when someone gave me $6 million to move jobs, definitely take it. So Harry Maguire is having a bit of a sort of.
I will tell you this. The day it's announced that Harry Maguire leaves, I'm going to come on here, I'm going to do a video, and I'm going to look at the 4 years that he put in at the club, because for everything from £80 million to given the captaincy to how it's gone, it's a video in itself. I'll just leave it there.
What do you make of it? And we've experienced this a little bit before Al here saying that's good news. I thought the payoff to Maguire will be 10 million. That was the sort of the rumoured price 1 or 2 weeks ago. Who knows? Probably 8 million to be fair. Might be in between that 6 and 10. But what you make, and again, we've experienced this before, Larry. When someone look at David De Gea, he got dogs abuse and criticism for weeks and weeks and weeks. Suddenly he leaves the club and nothing but tributes come out. And I'm just thinking Harry Maguire has had dogs abuse for 2 years, nothing but criticism, no praise at all. Not that he's deserved praise, but nothing but sort of shit thrown at him for 2 years. Suddenly he's going to leave, and a lot of people saying, "Oh, look, it's been a tough job as Manchester United captain. He gave his all. I do wish him all the best." And they're the same people who have been absolutely rinsing him for 2 years. And I'm just thinking, I've been one on here who's defended him more than most, so I'm confident in my sort of respect towards Maguire. But just in terms of the reaction to Maguire leaving now, it seems a lot more sort of respectful and level-headed than I thought it would be. I thought all the sort of big voices and big accounts, and we know who we're speaking about, would be sort of celebrating this, but they're all almost sort of taking a step back and think, okay, well, it's best for all parties. I wish him all the best. We didn't wish him the best when he was at Manchester United. And I'm just thinking, just your thoughts in regards to the current feeling around Harry Maguire, the person/player.
I think he goes with most United fans' blessing. Obviously, there's a minority in the fan base that's toxic and looks for clicks and follows Twitter or X or whatever the hell it's called these days, and just, the whole booing thing. Like, if I was a player, that would be my cue to leave. To be booed by your own fans, globally or not, is irrespective.
It's a pre-season thing. It happened in Melbourne. Now it's happening in Dublin. It's a real pre-season thing, isn't it? Do you think that
it's international fans?
But do you think it highlights the sort of difference between
Twitter? When you're not there week in, week out, your closest alignment or your closest attachment to Manchester United is social media, and the social media vibe around Harry Maguire is let's insult him.
But do you think that there's always been this tension and debate amongst Manchester United fans, E-Reds or online fans, compared to match-going fans? And when we go on the road on tour to sort of fans who sort of aren't match-going fans, there kind of is that, again, each to their own. But it does sort of highlight a little bit of a difference between. And now players have been booed at Old Trafford. There's no hiding from that. But in regards to the constant abuse and constant direct sort of targeted criticism towards a player, there is a difference, in my opinion, between. And here I say this as someone on the other side of the world. I'm not a match-going fan, but it adds weight to the argument between the difference.
It's just global fan. It's the international fan base that's on Twitter. It's as simple as that. Because if you and I go to a game, we're not booing Harry Maguire.
Yeah, that's exactly my point. I'm saying there's a difference between match-going fans and the global fan base.
I don't think there's a difference between the match-going fan and the global fan base. I think there's the global fan base that are associated with online following and probably don't watch games and just watch highlights and clip him up, versus the global fan who watches 90 minutes, who wakes up at 1 a.m., watches every game.
It's a broad stroke. Yeah, it's a broad stroke, but just in general, you know what I mean. But I do agree with that. Al saying Maguire could be the worst ever club. Look, in regards to money, that'll be interesting in regards to weighing that up, and now selling for 30 million plus having to subsidise his wages.
Wait for my video.
Well, I tell you what, you can say that it's the Harry Maguire business is better than letting Paul Pogba.
I'm not saying I'm siding with that opinion. I'm just saying wait for the video.
Oh yeah, no, your video, Al's point, and now my opinion was Paul Pogba letting him go for free, buying him back for 90 million, then letting him go for free again. In my opinion, is worse business, in my opinion, than the Harry Maguire deal.
Yeah, at least United will recoup something back here.
Yeah, Paul Pogba, Harry Maguire. I'm sure that'll come up in that discussion when we do get the official confirmation.
That just reminded me. There was a time in Pogba's final season, Harry Maguire stretching and kicks Pogba in the face. Absolutely brilliant. That might be the best kick that Maguire made in his Manchester United career.
That clip on Twitter was in terms of him doing that pre-match stretch and then sort of replicating it onto Paul Pogba's head, kind of just unfortunately summed up his time. at Manchester United, which obviously did have to come to an end, no doubt. But I'll definitely join you for that Harry Maguire video because I think it's an important discussion to have for many different reasons. But fingers crossed they can get sorted soon, and he can go and sort of defend for David Moyes and West Ham. And good luck to him. Obviously, the player and club need to move on. Good luck to him at West Ham. But I'll talk about an official announcement. We'll wait for that for Harry Maguire. We were promised an official announcement, and I was sort of throwing a little bit of water on it, saying that this is not going to happen. And again, that's just the pessimist in me trying to jinx it. I told everyone we're not going to get a Greenwood decision before the start of the season. Everyone said, or the Manchester United correspondents come out and said, "It'll be announced before the season." Manchester United's decision. Here we are, one day before the Premier League. Now they've still got a few hours. They maybe had 24 hours to get something out there, of course, and fingers crossed that is the case. But like the Glazers, I said they're not going to sell the club before the start of the season. I'm saying Manchester United are not going to announce anything with Mason Greenwood before the start of the season. I'm praying I'm proven wrong. That's not my opinion on what the decision should be. But in regards to a decision being made, here we are. Mason Greenwood does something get announced in the next 24, 48 hours.
Yeah, I think it's possible. Am I confident? Is it probable?
The club have told us they will.
I think they will. I think they'll. Well, they need to because the transfer window is. The transfer window closes first week of September. I want to say. So United essentially got about 3.5 weeks to do something, and they'll have to do that something because if there's potential buyers, they'll need to let the fans know, and they need to let prospective clubs know. So I don't think he gets sold. I'm comfortable to ruling that out. I think it's either a loan or he sticks around.
This is George here, just not to go back to the Maguire, but I always find this one funny. De Gea telling Maguire to move to the other side of the tunnel. The interesting part of that, De Gea was wrong. Maguire was actually right. They had changed the sides now since they changed the dugout. So Harry Maguire was actually right. David De Gea was actually in the wrong. I always found that interesting. But it is what it is. Manchester United walk out on the right-hand side of the tunnel now compared to the old Stretford End days. That's to do with the dugout change, Erik ten Hag's dugout change. But again, that's sort of summed up Harry Maguire's time. He did the right thing, but it's criticised for it. Yeah. Is what it is. Another discussion. But Mason Greenwood, again, this is not my opinion on what I want to happen or what should happen. It's just in regards to the announcement of a decision. You talk about the start of the season, or the club has talked about the start of the season. You talk about the transfer window. For me, it's the transfer window which is the issue. It's not the start of the season. Why would they come out? He's not going to be involved in match day one, so why do we need a black and white answer there? My opinion is they're going to wait for the transfer window, and now they'll either wait and we'll have just an announcement in regards to, okay, he's moved on to this club, or there's been no Mason Greenwood transfer activity, so he's a Manchester United player and he'll be integrated into the first team squad. So that is where I think the decision will be made. As I said, fingers crossed. In regards to sort of getting a resolution to this, it will be done soon in regards to an announcement either way. But like the Harry Kane thing in terms of your hunch in regards to what happens with Mason Greenwood over the next 24 hours.
I think he stays. I really do. It's just my gut feeling. In saying that, I don't know. I don't think he'll get anywhere near first team football before. It won't be before November, December, because he's going to need so much match sharpness into him. Look, I could be wrong on that. Like I said, I just think United are so lean in that striker position. And I think between Martial's unavailability, Rasmus Højlund has a back injury before he's even kicked the ball, United lack goals. I think that there's a lot of hope on Anthony coming good, or Ahmad's injured, let's not forget. Ahmad's out. Sancho's been deployed centrally. So really, that right-hand side's looking quite lean. Up front is looking quite lean. You get Mason Greenwood up to scratch. Will he fulfill his potential the way he once would? I have my doubts now. You don't not play 18 months of that crucial age and expect someone to hit the potential that he once probably had. But I mean, you don't lose your ability to play football, do you? And I think football will override morals. And you can have your opinion on that. That's just my hunch. You can't buy Mason Greenwood talent for less than £70 million. He's at the football club. I think that he sticks around. They put the match upness into him. How they manage the PR, we'll wait and see. I think he stays, Tom.
It's something we can discuss in more detail sort of when we have the facts in front of us and when we know what's happening and we can see one or two bits of reaction. But you just mentioned PR. Before we do move on to sort of one other topic to wrap up tonight's show, how do they manage the PR? And again, this is something we can discuss in further detail when we have a little bit more information. But the right wrong in regards to how they approach it? Is it Mason Greenwood and his party in front of a TV camera? Is it a written statement? Is it complete silence and he doesn't say anything for a year? I'm just thinking, how do they approach the PR attack of this if he is to stay?
I think he'll say something. He'll have to. They'll need. Look, the thing is, the reality is, when you try to be all things to everybody, you end up being nothing to nobody. And with the Mason Greenwood situation, fans will be upset no matter what happens. There's going to be a group that's going to say he should be forgiven. His partner is with him. His partner's forgiven him. So why can't the club forgive him? And he's a pariah. And even though in the eyes of the court, they haven't pressed any charges. I'm not going to say he's innocent, but they haven't continued pressing charges. So there's that argument. The other argument is we've got evidence online. We suspect we know what he did. Therefore, he shouldn't deserve to play for one of the biggest football clubs in the world. You're going to upset people no matter what happens. So United just need to make a decision, a football-based decision. Yes, a values-based decision. You weigh it all up. You make a decision, and you go ahead. You keep moving. You have to push forward.
No doubt. And look, when that news does break, we'll definitely go live because, my God, it is big news. No doubt. So make sure you are subscribed, hit that notification bell so when Greenwood news does hit, unless it hits at 4 o'clock in the morning, we probably won't react live. But if not,
and
we'll
hit
definitely...
that like button. There's 4 likes on the video. We can do better than that, guys.
You're just holding your phone now. Literally, click like it takes half a second, no skin off your back, and it makes the world of difference to Larry and I and everyone else.
Unless you're watching on your TV and you're watching something a bit more explicit on your phone.
I'll be just saying scrolling through Twitter maybe. I'm not sure what Larry gets up to, but I'm scrolling through Fabrizio Romano's Twitter. That gives me the excitement. I do see, as Rob said earlier, Tyler Adams to Chelsea. But Al brings up here, we'll wrap up with maybe a little bit of Premier League talk. We do have a Premier League preview coming out tomorrow. But just in regards to a little bit of Premier League talk around the grounds, as I said, Tyler Adams to Chelsea. £20 million. I think that's probably good business in regards to the price tag. But Chelsea, I'm not sure what I make of their business overall. But Al's saying, do we need another striker? Should we buy the young Brazilian striker, Marcus Leonardo? Not ideal, but we are desperate. I'm going to go out on a limb again, Al, and say Marcus Leonardo. I'm guessing he's genuine. It sounds like it could be potentially sort of fake name, or sort of on Football Manager or FIFA. I take your word for it that he's real. Never heard of him. Sounds like a good player. If his first name's Marcus and Leonardo is obviously a footballing name. So, obviously never seen him play. But Larry, around the grounds, as I said, we do have a Premier League preview coming out tomorrow where we touched on a lot of the big players, or the big hitters around the league. But as I said, only 48 hours away or so until the league does start. Just your sort of current feelings, any sort of things to look out for or sort of things of concern, etc.?
I think... I'm really keen. Look, we Tom and I recorded a Premier League preview last night. It's a great watch, so you'll all really enjoy that. And we did we put our predictions for Manchester United. So very Manchester United focused video. So who you think will be the top goal scorer? Will Marcus Rashford reach the heights that he reached last season or not? Who might be a surprise packet? Where United will finish? All of that is covered in tomorrow's video. So definitely keep your eyes out for that one. But what am I looking forward to? I can't wait to watch Aston Villa. I'm really keen to see how Pau Torres goes. He was obviously linked with Manchester United for a very long time. So that's what I'm looking forward to this weekend. I want to watch Aston Villa. I think they played really good football under Unai Emery. So I want to see how they evolve this season. And I think they've improved. I think they've made some really good signings. And I'm keen to see how Aston Villa go.
Yeah, definitely, Chris. Good to see you, mate. Hope all is well with you in the world. Aston Villa is the interesting one because I wouldn't say I'm looking forward to with excitement to watching them play. I think they're sort of quite a structured team. But in regards to the results and how they go, no doubt on Pau Torres as a player, I definitely have raved about for many a year.
City is going to be very interesting. How does Vincent Kompany approach Manchester City? I think that'll be good. I know you're being a little bit cynical and suggesting that there might be some foul play at hand, but I think. If anyone knows Pep Guardiola, it's people like Vincent Kompany. He literally had to play out his tactics. So
look, we've always seen first day of the season or a newly promoted team come up in that first game against a big hitter, and sort of it's always maybe better to play them before they hit their stride. Sometimes Manchester City do predominantly start the season slow. Remember last season, Arsenal won their first 10 games or whatever it was, or first 6 games. They had great form. Manchester City were dropping points left, right, and centre. So maybe it is a case that it's probably the best time to play City on a Friday night at Turf Moor. I think it's at Turf Moor.
Yeah, and if it is at Turf Moor, look, I'm telling you, I just got this hunch. I just got this hunch. Do Burnley pull off the major upset?
Definitely, Chris here reminded me what I want to do, Chris. Fantasy Premier League. I'll put it in the description below. I haven't started yet, but what I'll do when we finish this show, I'll create a Fantasy Premier League. I'll put it in the description of the video, so maybe wait 5-10 minutes. And we'll flood it on our social medias because I do have a very good team. I've changed my strikers about 6 times today, and I have included Larry. I'll tell you, I'll give obviously everyone knows everyone's got Haaland. It is what it is. But my one other inclusion in my Fantasy Premier League team, I would say it's a prize packet in regards to the sort of scoring goals and getting points at the right end of the pitch. But who I think, and he's sort of dominated a lot of the discussion today, who I think will have a good season. I'm picking Harry Maguire, because I think he walks into that West Ham team. I think it looks like he's going to be the West Ham captain. And I just see in regards to being defensively sound, I could see potentially 1 or 2 clean sheets at West Ham under David Moyes. Now, if it goes horribly wrong under David Moyes in West Ham, they'll play leak like a sieve and do nothing but concede goals. But if they do well, if they invest that money, as said, James Ward-Prowse looks like he's coming in. It'll be interesting they lose Lucas Paqueta. That would be interesting. But I'm thinking of including Harry Maguire in my Fantasy Premier League team.
Yeah, it's not a bad shout. And look, I think the way West Ham play suits his attributes. So, yeah.
Any other talking points before we do wrap up? So, Chris, thanks for that. I will sort of create that, and we'll see how many people we can get. Maybe have a bit of a prize on offer at the end of the season. I have got 1 or 2 things signed that I've got no room for, nowhere to hang up. So maybe put one of those up for grabs. But any other talking points before we do wrap up and look forward to our preview tomorrow?
No, just like I said, stay tuned for tomorrow night, 8:30. You'll see the Manchester United season preview and a few good gems in there. I think there was some good, interesting debate between you and I at the pub. So stay tuned for that.
I think I was maybe a little bit ambitious with some of my predictions, maybe, or was I speaking sense? I'm not sure.
I don't know. All I'll say is I asked Tom about who would win the league, and the answer might shock you. I'll just leave it there. You'll have to tune in tomorrow night to find out.
I just had to rethink. I think it's throwing a bit of curveball. I have to rethink my predictions, but I'm pretty sure it was a sensible answer.
I'm not editing the video anymore, mate. It is what it is.
Al saying Sadio Mane was going to Saudi Arabia. To be fair, I thought he was there about 3 months ago.
Yeah,
I've seen him there with Jordan Henderson. Yeah, I saw him hugging Jordan Henderson in one of the. I'm sure he's been in Saudi Arabia for a while. Maybe that was someone else.
Bayern,
but it was Bayern. Well, Bayern Munich had interest in him. Look, they've come into discussion with Harry Kane and obviously Pavard as well. So Bayern Munich may be a little bit of a big player in the rest of this transfer window. But as said, Premier League preview tomorrow night, this time tomorrow. Go hit that subscribe and notification button so you do join us for that. It's a good chat at the pub, as Larry said. And please do leave a like on your way out. That'd be very much appreciated. And we'll chat to you quick smart. Cheers.
Cheers.